This is the Soliad Wendover, and it is the newest car in BeamNG Drive. Today, I'm going to go over its quirks and features, and then after that, we're going to take it for a drive. Alright guys, like I said, we are basically reviewing the Soliad Wendover today, which is the newest car in BeamNG Drive. There's a lot of actual quirks and features with this vehicle, so that's what we're going over today. The design especially, there's a lot of quirks and features with the design. We're looking at the SE V8 facelift model. So this is the late 1990s or the mid 90s model facelift with the supercharged V8 4.4 liters front wheel drive with an automatic gearbox. You didn't see that too often in the 1990s. You might also notice that we're just standing away from the car, and when I say standing, I mean we're actually standing. We're actually walking around the Soliad Wendover. We're running now. We're running and we're jumping. We can actually push the car. Our body interacts with the car's physics. I know, it's pretty fantastic. This is part of the new update in BeamNG Drive. I'll have a full changelog of the update linked in the description if you guys want to check that out. And I suggest you check it out because it's cool. It's got some cool stuff added. Besides the walking mode, it's got a facelift or an update to another car in the game. So we've got this Soliad badge in the front. Soliad's a new brand in the game. It's an interesting badge. It's kind of plain. I kind of wish it was like either bright chrome, which is like just like a steel or aluminum badge. I wish it was like bright chrome, or this is the higher end supercharged model. I wish it was blacked out, but that's okay. It still looks really good. The badging is fine. There is pop-up headlights, or should I say pop-down headlights, or open-close headlights? I don't know, guys. There's headlights. I don't know what kind of headlights they open and close. I think they're pop-downs, but let me know if they're still called pop-ups. I'm not too sure. I'll show you guys. Yeah, it's on the right-hand side of the screen. That's how they work. They look pretty fine. That's a very interesting quirk. So I don't think a lot of cars, especially American cars in the 90s, sedans specifically, had these sort of pop-down headlights. The rest of it is pretty plain Jane, nothing too much to go over. It's got some separated turn signals, etc. We're going to go over to the wheels, and they look fine. They're like generic 80s, 90s turbine-style wheels with a hubcap or a center cap. But the cool thing is, there is a Soliad, like, encrestment, or it's like an imprint of the Soliad name on the actual center cap itself, which I think that's a pretty big quirk. You know, that is pretty prestigious for like an American luxury car from the 90s and 80s, guys. And that's a quirk for that. That's pretty cool. They got a Wendover badge on the side there, but the shape of the side, you know what? It looks pretty fine. You know what? I've got a soft spot for these 1990s, 80s sort of square roofline at the back sedans and coupes. I've really actually considered buying a Buick Regal from the time, or Grand National if I have the money, because they've got this, they're a bit more square, but it's the same generic shape, obviously. Let's go over to the back now. It's got this nice tail light set up in the back here. The housing is one giant piece. It'd probably be pretty expensive to have to replace the housing. That sounds like a really interesting design choice. It looks really good, but replacing it probably would be expensive. That's not the quirk, though. That's not the quirk. It looks good, but that's not the quirk. The quirk is the actual trunk itself is above the taillights, which has been in some cars, but the taillights are so high up that if we actually go ahead and just tear off that and just open up the trunk here, you can actually see here, that is the absolute highest load lip to get into a trunk ever. Honestly, that's absolutely insane. Imagine like loading your, like, picture this. You guys want to bring some hiking boots or whatnot, and you want to put it in the trunk, right? You've got a big duffel bag full of hiking boots and you know, syrup or whatever you guys bring to your Utah hiking trips. You got to lift it over these taillights and put it in the trunk. I don't know. It looks good, but I think in practice it's kind of weird. So if we actually go to the hood, and we actually pull up the hood from here, it's a clamshell hood, which is kind of interesting for an American car in itself. The hood is super massive. It stretches all the way to the pillar, literally touches the pillar, which is very interesting in itself. I don't know. I find that kind of cool. We got the supercharger under there, and the engine looks pretty cool. We'll listen to how it sounds in a sec. So finally, guys, we're in the interior of the Soliad Wendover, and there is a lot to go over. We're just going to look at the vehicle right here from this seat. So you can notice the colors are black and brown. So we've got black leather, and maybe some suede, looks like. I don't know, some places, some leather. Some looks like pretty soft leather. We also have the fakest wood paneling ever, obviously, like any 1980s car, 90s car. It's got this really fake, really cheap looking wood plastic paneling, but I think it looks kind of cool personally. Also kind of a soft spot for me is just this really weird wood paneling. Another quirk obviously is the digital gauge cluster. We've got this actual big old screen going all the way across, and for the 80s and 90s, it's very, very high end, to be honest. And Soliad is probably going over for the high end market. The car looks kind of boring in my opinion, but it's fine. So we've got our trip computer and our little system up here. You got your dummy lights, you got your fuel, etc. You got all the controls right there for that. We can go over here. We're actually missing oh wow, oh wow, this is a quirk. I just discovered a quirk live, guys. Okay, so you notice right here, we've got this console shifter. You've got the weirdest shifter ever. You got park, reverse, neutral, overdrive, drive, second and first, which is just really quirky in itself. And it looks kind of space age and fancy, honestly. But you'll notice the column-mounted shifter it's the same steering wheel stock, but there's no column-mounted shifter. It's just gone. That screams luxury to me. I don't know if the devs actually thought about that, and I don't think it's a huge deal at all. I just think that's a really big quirk. So we've got the air conditioning, the heater controls right here on this actual touchscreen, which for itself is very quirky for a 1980s, 90s car. Not a lot of cars had that. I can only name like a Buick that had it off the top of my head, but let me know in the comments if other cars had that as well. Oh my, another quirk. I looked for quirks and I'm discovering more. So you got the lights, you've got the interior light, you've got the low panel. I'm not too sure what they actually do because we can't test them. But it says just Twilight Sentinel. Is this for the interior map lights and stuff? Is that what it's called? Because that is so cool. That's the stupidest thing ever. I love that. You got your basic, you know, windshield wiper stocks. You got buttons on the steering wheel, which is pretty uncommon. You've got one cup holder, which is fine. But you know what? You think if anyone was going to have a lot of cup holders, it'd be an American car from the 90s and 80s. But we're going to notice here, the biggest quirk so far that I've found is these are the only cup holders in the entire car. The only cup holders that are visible. You got the back seats, you got the door panels, there's no cup holders. You got wood paneling, you got this plastic cheap leather stuff that goes there. You got the seats look comfy though. They look comfy, I'll give it that. There's only one cup holder for 4 seats, for 5 seats. Come on guys. You got the Wendover badging here, which looks really cool. And the center console is actually pretty high up. I didn't notice that. It's actually quite high up. Overall though, you know what? It's not a bad looking car. The interior is not too bad. The interior actually looks really cool. There's things, of course, they're missing. But there's a lot of really small touches that I loved about this car. So lack of cup holders is a thing. Lack of ashtrays. Come on, it's got 2 over there. We got 1 over here. We need more ashtrays. We need a lot more ashtrays. This is the 90s, guys. Come on. So what we're going to do is hop into, I think, West Coast USA. Let's do a drag race with my own version, which is a hopped up V8 version Rat Rod Sleeper. And we'll compare that to some other cars and take it for a drive around a track to see how it handles with my tuned version. Alright guys, this is West Coast USA, this is the racetrack, this is my own Wendover, this is my sporty tune version. It's got an NAVA with some tunes, some mods to it. It's got bigger tires, slightly bigger tires, it's got nicer wheels. I actually think these wheels suit it pretty well, I think they look kind of good. This is the pre-facelift, with the old front end obviously and the old rear end. It looks a bit more dated. You'll notice that there is a mattress on the roof. You might be asking, Ryan, why is there a mattress on the roof? I think it looks cool, and I also need a place to sleep, so that's why it's there. So this thing, it sounds pretty good. Can we actually, no, we have to get inside it? We have to get inside the car to actually rev it. So higher Redline, 6800. It sounds good. Let's take it for a drive. So it's 4-wheel drive with a race transmission. I mean, obviously on the street it's a little more subtle. Oh god, it's got race brakes. So this thing basically just looks like a really depressing brown coupe from the 1980s and 90s. But it is fast. In a second tier or third. So it's a 6-speed manual, or 6-speed race manual. It loves to drift, which is crazy. Oh, this is a fun car. It is a genuinely fun car to drive. We'll drive the base model in a sec, the refreshed V8 front-wheel drive automatic version. Okay, we're here in first. Let's launch it again. One kilometer to 100. So pretty much 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, which is absolutely insane. First, it's not even supercharged. This thing is scary fast, and it drifts pretty well. So this is the West Coast USA Street Course 1. We are in. This is the manual actually. Sport SC. Wendover facelift, so 1994 facelift version. We got a V8 supercharged. It sounds super aggressive. I didn't hear that before. The manual sounds crazy. Let's put in the first. Let's launch this thing. Oh god, the wheel spin is disgusting. We shifted a little early there both times, I think. It sounds so good though. My gosh. And the front wheel drive is actually pretty safe so far. It's definitely not sporty, but honestly, it doesn't understeer too bad. It does just plow in a bit. Okay, we're good. It doesn't feel, honestly, too front wheel drive. Spinning a second, obviously, we're just shifting. We're good. Oh, at least it doesn't have a race clutch. It's not dying on us, and I like that. Honestly, I mean, we're not throwing it too fast in these corners. I haven't driven it tons and tons, but it is really good. Something's scraping. We can't check because we only have first-person camera on right now. That's fine. A 2 minute, 8 seconds. That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. Let's go to free room here. So note to self, guys, I'm not a racing driver. Clearly. But I'm trying my best here. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more BeamNG stuff, just like testing. Check out the new update and stuff. It's a lot of fun. The walking was a lot of fun. It'll be for a lot of good, I think a lot of good cinematic stuff in RP if you guys would like that stuff. Good for that. And maybe they are working on the actual campaign mode. We're stuck. No. Well, we've already seen my car a good bit. I think we'll finish it off here. This is a bit of a different video. We'll get out of the car. Bit of a different video, obviously. We got the church bells ringing. If you guys like the video, leave a like down below. If you want to see like another like Doug DeMuro-esque video, but a lot more high effort, really being Doug DeMuro, let me know in the comments down below. This is a lot of fun. It was a bit different. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.